Hi, I'm a possum and I find garbage. Today's garbage is Planet Raptor, a made-for-TV movie from 2007 about a planet consisting of 4 or 5 sets infested with CGI raptors. Why is it always raptors? They never make a movie about a rampaging Griposaurus or something. Is it because Jurassic Park already did the legwork of familiarizing audiences with raptors, and now that movie's grossly inaccurate portrayal of them has effectively turned them into instantly recognizable stock monsters, no different than zombies or vampires? Really, there's probably as many bad movies about raptors or featuring raptors as there are bad shark movies. Oh no! A scientifically accurate velociraptor! Prick. The movie starts with opening credits written in the lolcats meme font. Then we see a spaceship flying over a PNG of a green planet. And we get a voiceover narration from our hero.
The first lesson I learned when I joined the service was when they tell you it's a routine mission, take extra ammo.
The first thing I learned when I joined the service was not to fall asleep while laying face down. He explains that he was assigned to escort a team of scientists on this planet to investigate an alien SOS signal. And we see them beam down to the planet Star Trek style. And also, just like Star Trek, they find themselves in a conveniently pre-built set recycled from another production.
Looks like a darn time warp. Keep an eye out for Hansel and Gretel.
So I guess we're just getting right into it. You know how most of these military guys versus monster movies will have some kind of scene where the protagonist has a situation explained to them, and how we get introduced to characters before they're sent into the unfamiliar territory? Even bad movies do this, but not this one. This movie just throws all these characters into a situation without taking the time to tell us anything about them. Then they expect us to care about them. Maybe they don't expect us to care. I mean, half the actors in this movie aren't even credited, and some of these characters I'm not even sure have names. This guy played by Sam Raimi's brother Ted tells our hero, Commander Mace Carter, who's played by the guy who played Manny in Scarface for some reason, that oxygen levels are lower than they expected, so he's gonna have to inject them all with something, because that's cheaper than renting a few spacesuit costumes. Then the obligatory sexy scientist lady wanders off with some guy to do science stuff or whatever, but then a guy gets attacked and dragged off by a raptor, while sexy scientist lady just stands there. The others hear her screaming and come running because these trained army guys who are sent here specifically to protect these scientists didn't go with them as they wandered off on this alien planet. And now Ted Raimi sees the blood on the ground and feels the need to touch it, because they always do that in these movies for some reason, as if there's some possibility it might be something other than blood. Maybe they think the guy was full of ketchup or something, I don't know.
Here there be dragons.
What does that even mean? Sometime later, all the characters are still in the same spot, doing what they were already doing, so the time skip didn't add anything, and Ted Raimi is giving everyone their injections. Carter tells everyone to go back to base camp and split up into 3 teams, one of which will go looking for the source of the SOS signal, another will stay behind to guard the camp, and another led by him will go to look for the guy who got dragged off. Everyone walks away, then Carter calls the spaceship to talk to Captain Guy.
Don't cut and run at the first hint of trouble, old buddy.
I've never run from anything in my life.
Maybe you should have. Carter returns to base camp and tells everyone to move out. Sexy scientist lady insists on going with him to find the guy who got dragged off, and as they wander around, she audio logs her assessment of the situation, commenting that the buildings look like Elizabethan-era England, but something's off about them, specifically that they look like a set. And that's not me joking, she literally says that.
Almost like a stage set.
We find out more about that later. Then this mustache guy complains to Carter about how they traveled here in a spaceship and beamed down like it's Star Trek, but they're still carrying around 20th century guns like AK-47s and pump shotguns due to budget cuts.
Was this budget cuts?
If it works, it works.
So it's like the movie's acknowledging its terrible production value, but they're also trying to excuse it as part of the story. Is this guy's insane clown posse tattoo part of the story? Oh, this guy has one too, so I guess it is. They continue to wander around until Carter hears something in one of the buildings. He looks and sees a raptor eating the guy they were looking for. He shoots it, it falls over dead without bouncing when it hits the ground or anything. Like their canned animation just stopped. Then Carter informs sexy scientist lady that her friend is dead.
Want me to draw you a picture?
Wow, what a charming and sensitive individual our hero is. I sure want to watch more of this guy. Then they find an old castle, but there's a big padlock on the door, so Mustache Guy picks it by sticking a knife in it, because that's how padlocks work, I guess. Then we cut to the obligatory Tough Lady and Ted Raimi following their scanner thing to some old building. They go down some stairs into a big room with some alien crap in it, including a statue of a big bug guy. They open a box with some kind of plastic prop in it, which will become important later, and then Tough Lady finds the SOS transmitter. She calls Carter to tell him, and then we cut back to the base camp where some raptors had just come casually walking up because nobody was paying attention. In a real movie, they would have been ambushed while walking around or something, but here, the raptors just kind of decide to walk up and attack, which they could have done at any time, but I guess now was the time the plot needed it to happen. The army guys start shooting, and the old guy, who's actually named Pappy, calls Carter for help, but one of the scientists gets killed before they can get back. One of the raptors headbutts a still photo of Pappy, causing his stunt double to fly into a pile of baskets, and then he's suddenly all cut up somehow. Those must have been some sharp baskets. Carter comes running in, and the same shot of a raptor getting shot in the face gets reused a few times until Carter yells cease fire, and then the raptors just kind of disappear. There's no shot of them all dying or running away or anything. The army guys just stop shooting, and the raptors are just suddenly gone, because they need to be for the rest of the scene. Sexy Scientist Lady explains what a raptor is to Mustache Guy, who just stands there with his gun pointed at his commanding officer, like a well-trained soldier would.
They're not lizards. They resemble velociraptors,
That's right.
extinct on Earth for over 66 million years.
Extinct. Well, I guess they didn't get the memo.
Velociraptors actually went extinct at least 71 million years ago. Not all dinosaurs lived at the same time, you know. In fact, contrary to what Jurassic Park implied, Velociraptor didn't even live during the Jurassic period, and neither did Tyrannosaurus. Your whole childhood was a lie. And while I'm on the subject, Stegosaurus died out 150 million years ago, and Tyrannosaurus didn't even appear until 68 million years ago. Which means the time gap between Stegosaurus and Tyrannosaurus is actually greater than the time gap between Tyrannosaurus and humans. The era of dinosaurs lasted a really long time. Anyway, Carter says they're aborting the mission. Sexy Scientist Lady complains that they're not done collecting data, but Carter tells her to f*** off. But then Ted Raimi points out the plot-convenient radiation storm that's stopping them from contacting the spaceship, so they can't beam back up. You would think people whose job is to travel to alien worlds would be prepared for this sort of thing. So I guess they're stuck on the Raptor planet, which I don't think is ever given a name in the movie. Tough Lady explains they still have plenty of ammo and explosives, while Ted Raimi cuts tissue samples from one of the raptors, then tells one of the other scientist guys not to tell anyone about it for no reason other than to make him seem untrustworthy to the audience before he predictably double-crosses everyone later. Oh, spoilers, I guess. Carter decides they should hole up in the castle until the storm blows over. We cut to the spaceship where Captain Guy refuses to send down reinforcements because he doesn't want to put anyone else in danger. Then we cut to the castle where Sexy Scientist Lady explains that aliens have probably been to Earth, which is why they have a town that looks like a convenient medieval village set. Why even make the movie take place on another planet if it's just gonna all happen in a location that looks like Earth anyway? This might as well be a time travel movie. If you're gonna make a movie called Planet Raptor, have it take place on a planet that's actually alien. Make it a weird meat jungle where it rains piss or something, I don't know. Suddenly, a raptor comes bursting in. They all shoot at it, then Carter yells at Sexy Scientist Lady for not warning them about it. I guess because that was her responsibility and not the army guys. Then Tough Lady tells Mustache Guy to get some food. This other guy goes outside to find Carter, who I guess is standing guard or something. But then Ted Raimi comes walking up and tells him not to spend too much time outside in the radiation storm, which sounds like good advice from a medical professional. But Carter tells him to f*** off for being a scientist, and then he goes back inside and gives us another voiceover.
For my men, it's life and death. To her, we're just another damn petri dish.
So Carter really doesn't like scientists for some reason, but we won't find out why until later. I don't like guys who wear beanies in the summer, and I don't think I need to explain why. Everyone starts eating, and Pappy tells Carter to leave him behind if it becomes necessary to save everyone else. Then we cut to a creepy first-person view of something lurking in the shadows. Ted Raimi sees it and goes inside, but without telling the other guy he sees something because he's an asshole. We cut to Tough Lady trying to fix up some alien device she found. Then Carter says he needs a volunteer to stand guard. Pappy says he'll do it, but then he falls over and starts shaking. Ted Raimi runs up and injects him with something which causes him to stop. Then Ted explains he suspected the raptors might be venomous, so he took their DNA or something and made an anti-venom out of it. I strongly doubt that raptors had venom, but I guess these aren't really raptors, and more like aliens that happen to look like raptors, so I don't know. Carter gets mad at Ted for using Pappy as a guinea pig, but then Pappy wakes up, proving that the anti-venom worked.
Infection will kill you faster than anything else on this planet.
I'm pretty sure getting your head ripped off by a dinosaur would kill you faster. But what do I know? You're the scientist. Huh? Oh, that raptor's back.
What about my back?
Oh, and the damn thing talks. What do you want?
I was frozen in ice until climate change caused me to thaw out. I've waited over 75 million years to tell you about this video sponsor.
This video doesn't have a sponsor.
Oh, really? Well, scheisse. Well, in that case, I've waited over 71 million years to eat your $10 patrons!
Oh no, not.
Alex Bones, Ashley Mary Johnson, Being Positive is a Case Success, Mike Badges 95, Bowling Guy, Brett Bruce, Brett 699, Charlie Chocolate Loosely, Chris O'Reilly, Chris Nick, Christopher Wall, Cole Marlidi, Corey Zilligan, Darth Sindo, Demon 1980, Diesel Weasel, Eduardo Sanchez, Fractal Orion, Frank the Ginger Degenerate, Grey Devil, Hey Ridden and Penai, Fisted Bear, Jacob Verra, Jimmy Follett, Jimmy Jam, Joe Berg, John Cleveland, John Fortnite, Joseph Reagan, Josh Leipart, K55, Kaiser Wilhelm II, Lars Top Fellow, Liz Witter, Quebec, Lois Durante, Marco Bagby, Mario Mendez, Nick Squizzy, Michael Bouye, Michael Lowe, Nicholas Slater, Noble Team 33, PT, Paco, Ricky Baruga, Ralph Koffer, Ron Elba, Ruin Scepter, Sir Steve on Google Tongue 17, Spurrow 1998, Sirsa Fox, Nicholas McCullough, Culkin, The Sauce God, Thomas Brown, Thomas Mottpin, Twilight City Studios YouTube channel, Via Dreadle, Western Reaper, Wilbur Nan, Wilker Thacey, Zenith, and Victor Alexandrovich Gontar.
They pay for my bad habits.
Yeah, and now they'll pay for my hunger with their flesh!
Alright, that's enough of that character. Ad break. So everyone agrees to take the injection as a precaution, then we cut it outside where this idiot doesn't see his 11-foot lizard charging at him. Carter hears a scream, so he runs outside and sees what looks like a Carnotaurus mauling the guy in its mouth. They shoot at it, it drops the guy, and we see a raptor roaring. Everyone keeps shooting, but then Tough Lady runs outside and blows the raptor up with an alien thing she found, and the Carnotaurus is nowhere to be seen. If you're confused, let me explain what just happened. They actually recycled the footage of the Carnotaurus from another movie called Raptor Island, which this movie is sort of a quasi-sequel to. I want you to just think about how many layers of stupidity are going on here. The people who made this movie are so dumb that they thought the audience would be too stupid to notice that they were so cheap that they actually tried to pass off footage of a completely different dinosaur that's big enough to hold a grown man in its mouth as a raptor. I'm actually impressed by the sheer audacity. So they inject the guy with the anti-venom and drag him inside. Carter asks Tough Lady if she can make any more alien grenades, and she and Sexy Scientist Lady explain it's some kind of wacky fusion device she found in that underground room with the transmitter. Since they're running low on ammo now, Carter says they should go out there and look for alien weapons in the morning. Hey, instead of risking everyone's lives to find alien weapons which you might not even be able to use, why don't you just yell "cease fire" the next time you see a raptor and make it disappear? Sometime later, Carter is outside again, chewing tobacco like some kind of asshole. Then we cut to Sexy Scientist Lady talking to Pappy. Pappy tells her about how Carter's wife was a scientist who died after getting left behind by other scientists somewhere after an accident during something called the Saturn Project. And that's why he hates scientists. But Sexy Scientist Lady says she did a report about that incident and explains that scientists didn't make the call to leave her behind, but the captain of the mothership did. And it turns out that captain was their own captain guy. Bum bum bum, dramatic music. Carter walks up revealing that he overheard them, and he vows revenge on Captain Guy. And we see Captain Guy in the spaceship, then nothing important happens. Back on the planet, Carter is hanging out in the doorway outside again, I guess because he really likes that spot, when Sexy Scientist Lady comes walking up. Carter apologizes for snapping at her, and Tough Lady slaps Mustache Guy, then Carter leads 3 army guys to a building where they found the alien stuff earlier, and for some reason, they bring Sexy Scientist Lady with them. They make their way there and find the plastic prop from earlier, but then a goofy bug man comes sneaking up on the people with the guns like some kind of idiot. Fortunately, the people with guns who are on edge from being chased by ravenous dinosaurs all day don't immediately shoot the giant hideous bug on sight, so it starts talking to them, and somehow, Sexy Scientist Lady is able to understand him.
He's talking to us.
Oh.
I'll try to translate.
Oh, I guess that's why they brought Sexy Scientist Lady with them. The plot demanded it. So she translates what the bug guy is saying and explains that he's the last surviving member of a race of space-faring cultural appropriators who would travel from planet to planet to learn about their cultures and copy them to build places of rest and recreation.
What, theme parks? For termites?
So the bugs visited Earth at some point in the past, and this is the contextual explanation for why the planet conveniently looks like a medieval movie set. He also explains that the raptors were the dominant species on this planet before they arrived, but the bugs used them as labor animals and pets. But then they turned on their masters and killed all of the bug people. What, like, all at the same time? How did that happen? Did the raptors organize it somehow? Carter asks him how the alien weapons work, but then he just falls over and dies. So this guy managed to survive here for however long, and just happened to die for no particular reason right after he explains the backstory to these people who showed up from outer space. What timing? Then Mustache Guy sees a raptor approaching and calls Carter, so they grab the alien gun and shoot it. And then they do this weird thing when they move up in lines, taking turns to shoot, like there's some kind of Revolutionary War regiment using black powder muskets or something. Then they make their way back to the castle, but this one guy gets his head ripped off, but Carter tells him not to shoot it to save their ammo.
How'd it go up there?
Not bad.
I guess that guy didn't matter. Carter asks Sexy Scientist Lady how she knows how to speak the bug people's language. Apparently, they knew about the bug people before they got there, and the scientists were trained to speak their language. But this was a secret. Then, this other scientist guy explains that they also knew about the raptors before they got there. It was never meant to be a rescue mission, but a field test for the performance-enhancing drugs that Ted Raimi has been injecting everyone with. Carter punches Ted Raimi and gets him to confess the corporation or military or whatever had a plan to use the raptors as weapons, and they sent the soldiers there to test out the raptors' combat effectiveness.
They just needed some test subjects in a combat situation.
So, we cannon fodder.
Mace, I didn't know anything about this.
He also says Captain Guy personally picked Carter to go there in the hopes that the raptors would kill him because he didn't want Carter to find out that he's the one responsible for his wife's death and come looking for revenge. Wait, so did Captain Guy know that there was going to be a convenient radiation storm that would stop them from being able to beam back up? Or did Ted Raimi just make that up because he was in on it? And if he's in on it, why did he agree to maroon himself on a planet infested with man-eating raptors? Was that other scientist guy who got dragged off at the beginning in on it? And if the point was to test the raptors' combat effectiveness, why the company or military or whatever send the soldiers with outdated guns? Shouldn't they be tested against more modern military equipment, which the enemies are more likely to be using? And why the Goblin turn on the stove? They tie Ted Raimi to a chair, and they come up with a plan to use the alien transmitter to contact the spaceship so they can beam up. Back on the ship, Captain Guy tells the helmsman or whatever their orbit's decaying and they'll have to pull away to reorient the ship, which will take 24 hours for some reason. Back at the castle, Tough Lady makes some plastic explosives, and Sexy Scientist Lady tells Carter her parents died in something called the Martian Campaign, but then Tough Lady comes up and tells him it's time to go. Carter leaves Pappy in charge of the castle, while he and Tough Lady make their way back to the transmitter. Nothing eventful happens on the way, but when they get there, it turns out the raptors followed them in. Carter shoots at them while Tough Lady discovers and accidentally falls through a trap door. Carter jumps in after her, and they find themselves in some kind of cavern. Meanwhile, Ted Raimi tries to convince this other scientist to untie him, but it doesn't work. Sexy Scientist Lady goes outside to find Pappy, but when she leaves, Pappy injects himself with something.
2 more hours, then you can send me to hell.
Then Pappy sees something approaching and runs inside. Some raptors knock the door down, I guess because they couldn't just do that earlier. So Pappy tells them to get ready for a fight. They flip the tables over for cover, which seems kind of pointless because the raptors don't have guns. Then the raptors come in and the shooting starts. They eventually realize they're running low on ammo, so Pappy says they have to make a run for it. Then Pappy runs off by himself for some reason. Really, Pappy just says they have to run away, then Mustache Guy just yells, "We've got you covered, Pappy," and then Pappy runs off to go do something. Like Mustache Guy just somehow knew what he had in mind. Did they accidentally cut out a piece of dialogue? Back in the cavern, Carter and Tough Lady find a big clearing full of raptors and lava, which is another shot recycled from Raptor Island. Yeah, somehow the raptors set up a nest next to a flowing river of lava in an enclosed space, and didn't burn to death or suffocate on volcanic fumes. Carter tells Tough Lady to get the explosives out of his backpack. Pappy runs through the castle and sticks his shotgun in a raptor's mouth.
Eat this.
Carter and Tough Lady throw the explosives around and somehow find their way back to the entrance of the cavern. Then, for reasons I don't understand, Carter decides to detonate the explosives while they're still in the f***ing cavern. This somehow causes a volcanic eruption which kills all the raptors down there. Pappy continues to run through the castle, and I still have no idea where he's going or why, but he stumbles upon a torture dungeon.
All I need is a girl.
Wait, what'd you say? Anyway, this room has no significance to the story, so there's no reason for this scene to even be in the movie, other than it's part of the castle set they had access to, and thought it would be cool to show it. The others are still in the dining room shooting at raptors when Pappy comes back and says he found a way out. Oh, I guess he was looking for a way out. That wasn't communicated well. They've been hiding out in this castle this whole time and never thought to look around? What if there was another entrance where the raptors could get in? So everyone starts running to follow Pappy, except for this one dumbass. Back in the alien room, Carter and Tough Lady climb back up through the trap door, having somehow managed to not die in the explosion and ensuing volcanic eruption they caused, when the building starts to rumble. They run outside, and little explosions start going off all around them for some reason, which are detected by the guy in the spaceship. While running through the castle, Pappy gets attacked by a raptor, so he pulls out an explosive to sacrifice himself.
Don't, Pappy!
I like my dinosaur meat well done!
That's the action movie one-liner you decide to go out on? So Pappy blows himself up, not realizing he could have easily collapsed a portion of the castle and killed everyone. But that doesn't happen, so I guess he's a hero now. Carter and Tough Lady make their way back to the castle. Carter blasts his way in, saving everyone inside, who are all out of ammo at this point. I like how the dead raptors are just the CGI models of the raptors standing, turned sideways and laid on the floor. Carter asks them where Pappy is, but nobody answers, so he takes that to mean he's dead. Then they run through the hallway, when suddenly, a raptor sticks its head in through the window, and even though they have plenty of room to just go around it, Ted Raimi pushes this guy to save himself.
Dirty. I didn't know what else to do.
Ted Raimi runs away before Carter can shoot him and makes his way to a flight of stairs. He tries to go up the stairs while a raptor chases him, but there's another raptor at the top, where we can see that the set just kinda ends and the stairs don't actually go anywhere. Ted Raimi makes a misstep and falls. He tries to crawl away, but then a raptor gets him and somehow manages to bite both his arm and his leg at the same time. Or maybe it's just confusing editing. So I guess he's dead. Everybody else runs outside, but there's more raptors. They shoot at them, and the raptors just kind of walk away, so everybody makes their way back to the landing zone. They reuse the same footage of a raptor getting shot in the face again, and Tough Lady turns on the alien transmitter thing as the raptors start to close in. Back on the ship, the guy detects the transmitter and sees that Carter is still alive, so Captain Guy pushes him away from the control panel before he can beam him up. And then a couple security guys come in to arrest him. It should be pointed out that nobody called them. They just kind of show up immediately after Captain Guy pushes the guy away from the panel, like they were waiting for him to do that. The raptors close in on the gang, and we cut to the spaceship where we see Captain Guy being led down a corridor. A door opens, revealing Carter is still alive. Carter punches him in the face, and the movie just abruptly ends. And then we get some bloopers to fill up time, but that's not important. What is important is the movie's over. So that's Planet Raptor. Oh, you again.
Just because you're big, that doesn't mean you get to push me around.
You're the one who's pestering me, you prick. Get out of my house.
You can't talk to me like that. By 71 million years ago, I was an apex predator. And I would have...
Thanks for watching my video. I have a headache now. Like, comment, subscribe. You gotta leave a comment because the algorithm likes it. And you gotta support me on Patreon too because I like it. Bye.